Donald Trump ordered to pay $354 million in New York civil fraud trial and barred from running businesses in New York for 3 years. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to UnwokeThoughts. Tonight, we're talking about this case that was brought by New York Attorney General Letitia James, who had been seeking $370 million in damages from Donald Trump and Judge Moron, this corrupt judge, just released his verdict. This came out yesterday, guys. I'm just bringing it out today because I've been so focused on the Fani Willis evidentiary hearing, and now I'm kind of diving into this. But guys, this verdict is absolutely insane. But if we get into the details of this verdict, this is what they are right here, guys. I mean, this is an insane verdict. This is unprecedented. Even the Associated Press is saying that this has never happened in history in New York. But let's look at this. The verdict reads, ordered that defendants Donald Trump, the Donald J. Trump Revocable Trust, the Trump Organization Incorporated, Trump Organization LLC, DJT Holdings LLC, DJT Holdings Managing Member, Trump Endeavor 12 LLC, 401 North Wabash Venture LLC, Trump Old Post Office LLC, 40 Wall Street LLC, are jointly and severally liable to plaintiff in the amount of $168,040,168 with prejudgment interest from March 4th, 2019, and it is further ordered that defendants Donald Trump, and then it lists off his organizations, are jointly and severally liable to plaintiff in the amount of $126,828,600 with prejudgment interest from May 11th, 2022, and it is further ordered that defendants, and then once again lists all of his organization, are liable for $60 million with prejudgment interest from June 26, 2023, and it is further ordered that defendant Eric Trump, Donald Trump's son, is liable to plaintiff in the amount of $4,013,024 with prejudgment interest from May 11th, 2022, and it is further ordered that defendant Donald Trump Jr., Donald Trump's other son, is liable to plaintiff in the amount of $4,013,024 with prejudgment interest from May 11th, 2022, and it is further ordered that defendant Alan Weisselberg is liable to plaintiff in the amount of $1 million exactly with prejudgment interest from January 9th, 2023. Guys, this is the breakdown of what they're having to pay based off of this ruling by this corrupt judge in New York. And this case was brought by Letitia James. This is a complete outrage. I mean, there are so many people talking about this because this is unprecedented what is going on. But this is Letitia James in her statement following the verdict. This case that had zero injured parties. There were no injured parties. All of his banks came out and said that Donald Trump had taken loans from them and he had paid them all back. This was not brought by some injured party, some bank that Donald Trump had defrauded. No, this was brought directly by Letitia James, this corrupt attorney general who has political bias against him. And I'm going to play the video in a second that proves in multiple occasions that she was very, very politically biased against him. She made her whole campaign about going after Donald Trump, but she said, today we proved that no one is above the law, no matter how rich. And she also said Donald Trump may have written the art of the deal, but he perfected the art of the steal. Wow, that is just absolutely disgusting, guys. Listen to this.
Today, justice has been served. Today, we prove that no one is above the law. No matter how rich, powerful, or politically connected you are, everyone must play by the same rules. We have a responsibility to protect the integrity of the marketplace. And for years, Donald Trump engaged in deceptive business practices and tremendous fraud. Donald Trump falsely, knowingly inflated his net worth by billions of dollars to unjustly enrich himself, his family, and to cheat the system. Donald Trump may have authored the art of the deal, but he perfected the art of the steal.
Guys, this is absolutely disgusting. Letitia James, you can see that she is just lying through her teeth. This is a case that went after Donald Trump for basically the biggest story, I guess, that came out of this case is his apparent inflation of the value of Mar-a-Lago. He said it was valued at over $1 billion, and they said that it was only valued at around $20 million. So it was insane. You can go on at Zillow, and you can look at the property, and you could see properties that are a fraction of the size of his that are valued way, way more than that. And his property spans from shore to shore. It's an iconic property. It's a beautiful, massive house. Mar-a-Lago, it's a club. But for them to say that this property is only valued at $20 million, I'm sure there are millions of people who would be lined up to buy it at that price. And there's no way. It just doesn't make sense. But they don't care that it doesn't make sense, guys. They don't care about any of that. They're just trying to go after Donald Trump any way they can. with these cases. These are not legit. I mean, Donald Trump he's probably not even really that worried about this because he's probably going to win and overturn this in appeals. But this is all about exposure, all about trying to sully Donald Trump's name. They're trying to do this before the election to try to harm him in any way. And they will use any tool that they can, including straight out lying and corruption, and using just corrupt, disgusting people like Letitia James. And of course, we saw what happened in Georgia this past week with Fani Willis. These two they're like two peas in a pot. They're like the same people, basically, except it really seems like New York is kind of the epitome of corrupt. But one of the biggest issues that you can see with this case is the person who brought it in the first place, Attorney General Letitia James. And to say that she is politically biased is an understatement. She has come out and she has said, "Oh, I'm not politically biased. There's no proof that I'm politically biased," even though there is literally video evidence that she is politically biased, and she should have never been able to bring this case against Trump in the first place. Listen to this.
The President of the United States has complained that I'm engaging in some sort of political witch hunt, that I've got some personal vendetta against him, that I campaigned against him. That is not true.
This illegitimate president who sits in the White House. That president, because he's not my president, he's an illegitimate president. His days are numbered. His days are numbered.
We've got to get ready to mobilize, and we've got to get ready to agitate and irritate until victory is won, but more importantly, until Trump is defeated. We will all rise up and resist this man, and ultimately we'll bring him down. This illegitimate president, I'm going to give you the same level of respect that you gave to President Obama, and that is absolutely no respect at all. Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey! Ho, ho! And the days of Donald Trump are numbered. Lock him up! Lock him up! Lock him up! Lock him up! Lock him up!
That is not true.
So yeah, guys, this is the individual who brought this case against Donald Trump and who just won a $360 million verdict against him. She is the Attorney General of New York, and she says that she is not politically biased, even though there is video after video of her quite literally with a bullhorn screaming and leading chants saying, lock him up, lock him up. He is an illegitimate president promising to go after him. And how is that allowed to fly in New York? The only conclusion that you can draw from this, the only conclusion, is the fact that New York is a corrupt state, and you can clearly tell what they are trying to do here. And it's disgusting to see because our justice system is absolutely in shambles right now. But there are so many people, even people who are not necessarily supporters of Donald Trump or who we don't really know are supporters of Donald Trump, kind of like Kevin O'Leary here, who have come out and said that this is absolutely ridiculous. This case against Donald Trump is absolutely ridiculous. They're trying to pin him for fraud for doing something that every single real estate developer in the entire United States does. Listen to this.
And let's leave out politics and just talk about what happens in real estate development anywhere. So if you're a developer and you've got a building on a block anywhere in America and it's worth, let's say, $500 million, and you want to build a building right beside it, you go to the bank and say, this building is worth $500 million. I'd like to borrow a construction finance loan against this asset, and I want you to tell me it's worth $500 million too. And the bank negotiates with you and says, well, no, we think it's worth $400 million. And you fight it out. You're always trying to show your assets in the brightest light with the sunshine you could possibly determine for them. You want them to be worth the very most because you're only going to get a 40 or 50% loan to value, as it's called. Then you borrow that money. In the case of a $500 million asset, maybe you get $250 million, and you build a new building with a construction finance loan. And so that's what this case is all about. And by the way, forget about Trump. Every single real estate developer everywhere on earth does this. They always talk about their asset being worth a lot, and the bank says no. And that's just the way it is. So in this case, when I'm trying to figure out, and I'm not pro or con, or I don't care about the politics, who lost money? Nobody. The bank got paid back the construction finance loan, and a new building was built. And if you're going to sue this case and win, you got to sue every real estate developer everywhere. This is all they do. This is what they do all day long, every day. So I don't think this thing will ever survive appeal, regardless of what the fine is. This doesn't even make sense.
So that is what the case was about in a nutshell. Something that every single real estate developer does all the time. And it's pretty simple when you think about it. Yeah, of course, you have a building and you want to build another building, and you go to the bank and you say, hey, I think my building is worth this much. And then you and the bank negotiate how much that building is worth, and then the bank gives you a loan based off of what you negotiate. That's pretty simple. That's a pretty simple concept. It's not that hard to kind of wrap your brain around this. But Attorney General of New York, Letitia James, decided to build her whole case on this house of cards, because there's no way, just like Kevin O'Leary says, there's no way this is going to survive appeal. But it's just kind of scary that it went through and the verdict was made in the first place. That's just, to me, that's a complete outrage and shows how fragile our justice system is right now. But of course, the Trump family, Trump's attorneys, and others are all defiant about this. Here's Eric Trump, who is one of the people who was ordered to pay over $4 million. Here's what he had to say about the verdict.
To a city. My father built the skyline of New York City. And this is the thanks he gets?
Yeah, he makes a good point. Donald Trump is iconic in New York. There's Trump Tower. He built a lot of New York City, and now they're coming down on him with ridiculous cases, these politically motivated cases. And where's his thanks? Where's his thanks for creating jobs? Where's his thanks for building these beautiful buildings? He doesn't get any because he's Donald Trump and they hate him. Also, Helina Habba did an interview on Fox News about this verdict. And we all know that Alina Habba is very, very vocal about these things. And this is what she had to say.
Alina, you know, I'm not going to act like I was surprised, because I wasn't surprised. This was a predetermined outcome in so many ways. The judge stuck throughout the entire trial to the insane valuation of Mar-a-Lago at $18 million. It is far closer to $1 billion if you just extrapolate out a 2-acre lot being worth $200 million on sale for $200 million in Palm Beach. I have many more such examples. So the question is, how does the judge get away with being far more guilty of the very thing that they said Donald Trump was guilty of?
I think the biggest message I can give the American people tonight is that he's not going to get away with it. Letitia James is not going to get away with it. The Biden administration is not going to get away with it. There is a point, and I want to say something that different than I normally do. We have the order now. I'm free to speak. And let me just say, as somebody who sat there in the trial, Sean, and I'm so happy you invited me on to say this, they will not get away with it. We will come at them. We will come hard, and we will literally fight until the truth comes out. There was nothing wrong. President Trump has done nothing wrong. All he has done is won a campaign, and that is scaring them, because they know when he goes back in November 2024, he is going to clean house. And that is truly the problem. It's not about Mar-a-Lago's worth. It's not worth $18 million. It's worth probably $1.5 billion at the least. It is not worth Trump Tower, 40 Wall Street. That's not what this is about, Sean. You know it and I know it. This is the new form of election interference. This is a campaign that cannot succeed with Biden and Kamala. So what they have to do is weaponize DAs and AGs, have Soros back them, fund them, Reid Hoffman back them, fund them, and come after Trump, everything Trump, including his children, his company, employees that are working for him, doing their job. That is the desperation of our country at this moment, which is about to go into world war. This is crazy. And it is sick. It's Trump derangement syndrome. That's literally the best thing I could explain to you. And just know this, and for all those people that understand what is going on, we will win, we will fight, because the facts are on our side. There are politicized judges. There are politicized DAs and AGs. But I do not have a doubt that in the end we will succeed.
Wow, guys. So Helina Habba absolutely lets everything spill. She goes after the attorney general. She goes after the judge. She goes after the court system. And she says basically that they are running scared. They are terrified because if he gets into the White House, he's going to clean house. He's going after all this corruption. And they are doing everything in their power because they know if he gets in the White House, the jig is up. He's got their number and he is coming after them. So they're doing everything they can, including directly just lying to people. Obvious corruption. You know it's getting bad when they commit obvious corruption in front of the entire world. They don't even have any shame about it. They have zero shame because they know that once Donald Trump gets into the White House, they're done. They're done and that's it. But Alina Habba, she is an absolute firebrand right here. But guys, of course, Donald Trump himself responded to this crazy verdict. And we all know that it was good. And this is what Donald Trump himself had to say.
You build a great company. There was no fraud. The banks all got their money, 100%. They love Trump. They testified that Trump is Great customer, one of our best customers. They testified beautifully, and the judge knows that. He's just a corrupt person. And we knew that from the beginning. We knew it right from the beginning because he wouldn't give it to the commercial division. This judge thought Mar-a-Lago is worth $18 million, and it's worth anywhere from 50 to 100 times that amount. So we realized that. He ruled against me before he even got the case. He ruled against me. He said I was guilty. He didn't know what I was guilty of before he even got the case. And Letitia James, that's another case altogether. She's a horribly corrupt attorney general, and it's all having to do with election interference. There were no victims because the banks made a lot of money. They made $100 million. And by the way, I paid approximately $300 million in taxes as the migrants come in and they take over New York. I paid over this period of years over $300 million in taxes, and they want me out. Oh, let's see if we can get them out. These are radical left Democrats. They're lunatics. And it's election interfering.
So yeah, guys, that's of course Donald Trump, and he's not happy with his ruling because now he has to invest more time and resources into bringing this to appeals. And you know, when you have so many cases against you, it just starts to eat away at you, I'm sure. I mean, Donald Trump, I mean, he's an older gentleman, but you know, he's got a lot of energy. But at some point, it's just like, listen, it's like kind of like that mosquito on your arm, like you're trying to get it, or that fly that's buzzing around. Like, just leave me alone at some point. Just leave me alone. And just like the fly, just like a fly that you bat away, they always come back because they're dumb. You can't communicate with them. Just like in this case, Trump can't communicate with these corrupt people because they already made up their decision before Letitia James ever brought this case, and they decided he was guilty, and we all know why. You know why this happened, I know why this happened, and they know why this happened. It's like, you know, the thing that nobody wants to talk about, the elephant in the room that nobody talks about, or at least one side doesn't talk about. They know why they're bringing this case against Trump. They know why this verdict actually was made against Trump, but they're never going to acknowledge it because they can't. They can't. They're corrupt, and they know what will happen when Donald Trump gets into the White House. But what do you guys think about this verdict? What do you guys think about this $360 million verdict against Donald Trump? And then also the fact that he's not allowed to do business in New York for 3 years after building their skyline, or a good portion of their skyline. What do you think about the money that, you know, his sons have to pay? And what do you think about Letitia James, that evil, corrupt attorney general in New York? Let me know what you think about this down below in the comments. Like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate that. But until then, I'll see you on the next one.